To become a modern nation, China must increase its industrial capacity. Short of the country has been forced to rely on human energy. Huge engineering projects like this dam are being built using the hand labor of thousands of workers. But today, the face of China is changing. China's people labor to dig the tunnels, lay the rails, and construct the foundation for an industrialized nation. From huge dams will come new electric power for an ancient land. Its production. The country is turning out heavy-duty steel and is also manufacturing some of its own machinery. But China has far to go. 4 out of every 5 Chinese are peasants who still work with the tools handed down from father to son for 1,000 years. To modernize a country as backward as this is a gigantic task. To build an industrial base, a country needs raw materials. Winter and summer, surveyor teams travel across China in search of coal and iron, copper, oil, and other raw materials the country needs. And they are being found. China is discovering that she has most of the basic minerals she needs to develop heavy industry. The country has the 3rd largest supply of coal in the world. Iron reserves, enough to last for centuries. Oil has been in short supply, but new fields are being prospected. New wells are coming in. And the geologists have found supplies of tin, copper, manganese, lead, bauxite, all necessary for industrial development. From the products of her oil refineries, China is making plastics and other synthetic materials. The textile industry is important to the nation's economy. China grows her own cotton. To weave cotton cloth for her enormous population, she is reported to have almost as many spindles in Shanghai alone as there are in all of England. Textile machinery, which formerly had to be imported from abroad, is now made in China. In a country where transportation is primitive, a bicycle is a valued possession. Millions of bicycles are made in China. This factory manufactures both bicycles and light motorbikes. While the majority of bicycles are used domestically, these motorbikes are mostly for export. China's foreign trade is small in relation to her population, but she is beginning to trade with more and more countries, and as she produces more, this trade will expand. Most of her trade is carried in foreign ships, but China is building a few of her own ocean-going freighters. Still far from being self-sufficient, China must buy much of what she needs from other countries. In recent years, China has had to import large supplies of wheat, but in turn has sold some of her rice to other countries. The ships that dock at China's seaports fly the flags of many nations. But as yet, China can export little. Most of what she makes, she needs herself. China's industrialization is closely tied to her agricultural needs. Her people require many more tractors than she now produces. To increase food production, she needs farm equipment of every kind. China is now manufacturing some trucks and buses, turning out a few automobiles, building some of her own locomotives. To turn out manufactured products, China needs people skilled and trained in working with modern tools. In China's schools, children get practical training. These children are learning electronics as they assemble radios. This university engineering class is specializing in the construction of dams. Using a large working model of a dam, the students learn how to apply the principles of hydraulics, which they must know if they're later to build the dams China needs. Dams that supply new electric power are now being built by engineers and graduates of her own technical schools. Universities train engineers to build these installations and technicians to run them. As technology advances, the country is beginning to produce many of her own machine tools. But the age of the machine is only beginning. In this country, now experiencing the Industrial Revolution, much of what China wants to accomplish must be done by human labor. It was decided to build a road across this open water, a causeway to an island over which trucks and trains could travel. Without modern engineering equipment, the only way possible was to sail out into the open sea with boats loaded with huge boulders, and then, using all the strength they had, heave the rocks overboard, and stone by stone, begin to lay the foundation for the project. Slowly, through hard and bitter labor, the work went forward. The people built one end out from the island, the other end from the mainland. Then they worked to join the two ends. But through the narrowing gap between the two ends, the sea began to run faster and faster. The boats were too small, the tides too swift. Try as they would, the people could not unload the stones in time. Again and again, they were tossed back in defeat. An engineer came up with a solution. Instead of dumping the stones one by one, tie them into huge bundles, and then, at a precise moment, heave the whole load overboard at once. The plan succeeded. The causeway was built. Today, China is beginning to move forward, beginning to enlarge and improve her transportation system. New housing is being erected. In the city stores, some new goods are beginning to appear. The metals discovered by the geologists have become shiny new pots and pans. New thermos jugs are admired. They're designed to be both practical and attractive. A housewife admires a new sewing machine made in China. But consumer goods are still rare. China's primary needs are for more modern tools here on the farms. More than 500 million of her people are peasants. To grow more food, they need new pumps, new generators, vast amounts of new chemical fertilizers. In this immense and crowded land, changes come slowly. Here and there, an electric pump replaces an old water wheel. Here and there, a tractor is a giant step forward. China started late, and she still has a long way to go. Most people must still work with primitive tools. Most must still rely on human energy. But the Industrial Revolution has begun.